How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another Monday live stream. My name is Guillaume. Good to be back with you guys. Always a pleasure to join you in your Monday afternoon, evening, depending on where you watch in the world. I know there's people from all over the globe that watch or stream. It's not my stream, it's our stream. Because even if I'm the host, you guys ask the question in the chat down below. In the chat down below. There. Chat there. Okay, chat there. As usual, tell me where you guys are from. I love to know where you guys are in the world. We have Rolf that is here with us, and we have Benoit, who asked already a question from France. A lot of people in France. Bonjour à mes amis français. I'm so happy and tired, as you can see by my face. Did 4 shows last week, and now I'm almost on vacation for the holidays. I got 4 days off. It's been months since I have that. I will probably today do our live stream, do a couple email for the upcoming shows, because I have 2 shows this weekend, and after that I'll be leaving for LA for a week, and it will be Christmas time. It will be the vacation. It will be time for me to relax, except on December 31st, where I have a show in Moonbeam, Ontario, which is really, really far. The guy that will welcome me there is a gentleman named Mark. I know he's watching the channel because he realized at some point that my name was the same that he was seeing on YouTube. So he wrote me an email, said, "Hey, I'm going to welcome you to that show. Will you bring the wing?" Sadly enough, on that show, I do not bring the wing. I will run an X32. But just to let you know that you guys are everywhere, and I would like to meet most of you guys pretty much everywhere in the world. This is why I'm flying to LA next week. This is why I'm doing also these live stream with all of you guys. I'm having fun interacting with our community, because I will call this a community. It's not my channel, it's our channel. This is what we're doing together. I feel really relaxed today. Is it just me? The end of the season, as we're going out this year as is done. Okay, now, don't baiting your baiting soup. I would bring a baiting suit, not a soup, because soup, I don't like to bait in soup, Chris. Hi, Chris. It's been a long time. Andy, what's up? Always fun to have you around. Bonjour, Benoit. Gerdo from the Netherlands. Welcome. Chris, I know. Are you from New York? Yes, you're from New York. I'm always afraid to not remember where you're from. I think you're from New York. So, see today as the coffee mug tribute to you. By the way, Chris is a member of the channel. If you guys would like to support me in what I do, try to become a member or a super member of the channel. You guys know the drill. Jason, good day. Tell us some secret about the new Wing firmware update. I can't. I just can't. You guys, I've already said too much. Charlie from Texas, good to have you back. Patrick Gilles in France. No, I remember you, Patrick. I remember my French people that watch this live stream. Bonjour la France. No, Patrick. Okay, Patrick is here. I always like to do this shameless plug for him. If you want to know more about Patrick's software, if you guys are interested in the stuff that he's updating regularly, that he just posted an update for one of his firmware. I think it's Xfade that you posted today, Patrick. Go visit his website, x32ram.com, x32ram.com. He's got beautiful software that integrate with the computer and a wing. If you want to expand a little more on the functionality of the wing, he's got some really cool software that will allow you to do stuff like scene recall, partial recall, use the SD card in the back like a tape machine, with a computer, of course, to do the audio manipulation of the process, but everything is done inside the console. It's not like recording on a computer, it's recording on the console itself. So yeah, next time sign in with your X32 RAM account, just so I can redirect people to, I don't speak English today, again. If I can redirect people to you. So, say hi to Patrick, to the 11 people in the chat. Make sure to like this video. And without any more waiting, we're going to move on to the first question of today, which is asked by Benoit. He says, hi Guillaume, or probably for France, bonjour Guillaume. Bonjour Benoit. We just received our wing, switched from analog to our church in France. How would you organize it to run different singer and musician alternating each week on stage with different mic instrument mix without having to readjust everything every time? This is a tricky question because there is no one size fit all option when it comes to do sound. You have to tweak a little bit. Of course, there are some stuff that will fit to pretty much everything. Let's say if you're having a Shure SM58 microphone, I know roughly the amount of gain that I should give to it. I know roughly the kind of EQ, the basic EQ that will kind of work for everything, but it's not going to be a fit for everybody. So if you're having different mics, instrument, and you want to have different mixes, my first suggestion will be do a sound check every day. I know it sucks. I know you don't want to do that, but yeah, you kind of have to. The other option is make yourself some channel that are preset, and hear me out when I say preset. Make some channel that you always use. Usually we call it like a festival patch. So every time that you have a singer coming, the way you build your console, let's say you have 5 vocal microphone already programmed, already like there. You have, or by group of 4 on the wing for failure, let's say that you have 4 guest microphone, 4 instrument guests with DI box on the other side. After that, you say different mixes. You will have to do that by hand, but you can, if you have guest channel with guitar, DI box, vocal microphone, and you can send them already in monitors where they are roughly placed at. Let's say that you're running monitor. Let's say that your guest vocal are always in the front. You probably want to send a little bit of that vocal in the monitor that's going to feed the front of your stage. So you can get some stuff going, but a really hammer on the nail shot without doing a sound check, no, you can't. All you can do is create yourself some channel that are already been used or preset and adjust every time. Slight adjustment, adjusting your gain, adjusting your EQ, adjusting the amount that you send in the monitor. It's gonna work. Keep in mind that if you have somebody singing in a SM58 in a certain position, if you give that microphone to somebody else, of course the EQ will not be 100% right. The gain will probably not be 100% right, but what is it to do, like increase or decrease the gain a couple dB, and after that re-EQ a little bit, moving your EQ left, right, just to make sure it fits the person really well. It's like a 1 minute process, and you can pretty much do it live. So that will be my option for you to do this. But you cannot, there's no magic button. There's no one preset that work for everything. But I would say build your channel, and it should be really close every time. Okay. The update that Patrick just released today was on WX Fade 6.0. This is an upgrade for the other version. Hey, Jonathan. Glad to have you back. It now supports DCA fading. So, what do you say, Patrick? I'm now with a master at handling safe of all sort in less than 25 line of code. I don't know how big that is. I'm sorry, I do not code. Whatever the safe type is, took me a while to figure it, but done. Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm out of my comfort zone on this one. Maybe you can explain a little more what you do. I know what a safe is, and probably everybody here know what a safe is. If you don't, well, this is when you select the channel and you have the safe here, and you can program them to change, I guess. This is what Patrick is doing now. I'm no expert in coding, like at all. I don't know any of that stuff other than talking through terminal through my TrueNAS stuff or my ZFS folder on my computer, which is a big step for me. I don't really jump into that stuff. Jason here. Hey, Patrick, can you create a X32 edit? Enough line editor for the wing. I know mixing station. I don't know. I don't know what you can say about that, Patrick. If alternating, oh yeah, actually I forgot to say that. You can use library in the sense of not only fader, but on every single channel, you can have a preset per channel, and you can have all the processing and all the tags and configuration saved to that. And then you can recall basically for a specific channel. So you can take a channel, load that back in, and call it a day. So give that a try. Sorry, I tried to catch up with the chat. Okay, Jonathan, how does the solo monitor option work on the channel? Okay, let's take a deep dive into this. You have on the wing two solo bus. You have one that goes into headphone, which is solo A, and you have one that has a speaker here that is solo B. If you select your solo on the top left of the console, you're gonna have this page, and basically what you can do is set your console to work with monitor A or B, or A and B. This one is temporary, by the way. If you select A and B to listen into headphone and a floor monitor, that will change. And second thing that you need to know before we move on is in the routing section, if you can go into output and you can go into, not this one, where is it? Hold on. Monitor, sorry. You have two options for monitor. You have one that is going into the headphone that is usually patched in local out 7 and 8. So by default, your aux out 7 and 8 is monitor A. That is also reflected to the headphone out on each side of the console. So if you guys only have headphone, it's fine. But if you want to have like a floor monitor and alternate between inner mixes and floor monitor listen, you can in other aux patch your other monitor like this. You could have stereo monitor if you want to, but they are separate. Keep in mind that they are separate solo bus. So let's say that you have that solo. Whoa, what's going on here? Oh, almost did it on the stream, right? No! Please. It did not get into the fader, but it was bound to happen at some point. Don't mind me, guys. Okay. Like nothing happened. I live dangerously. Yes, I do, Jason. I'm a professional. Whew. Okay. I don't learn. Okay, moving on. Okay. 2 different output that you can select, and on channel and bus you can select what you want to have. Let's say that we select this is a channel just for fun. I'm gonna go here. On the channel you can have it to go out in solo A, which is the headphone, B, which is the speaker, and on your bus, if you change to your bus, you can change that to be solo A or B. So if you are doing in-ear monitors from a bus and you want to listen to that into headphone or your own in-ear monitor to help the musician create his mix, you can listen to that. If you have a floor monitor on certain bus and you have a listen monitor, most monitor engineers do have a speaker for themselves to hear what they send to the artist. If you have that, you can make sure that that bus right here, that let's say bus 16, is gonna only go out into that monitor because you patch it into the other output there. So I hope that answers your question, Jonathan. You have basically AOP. Now, let's address that. I'm fine, guys. Nothing happened. I live dangerously. I know, Patrick. I know you told me, but it's fine. Everything is fine. I did not drop coffee into a $5,000 console live on YouTube. It happened. Okay. Jason, unless Music Tribe has something in the works. I don't know. I cannot tell. Benoit, thank you very much for the explanation. Will the save could be programmed for each singer and then called back on their day? No. Okay, if you want to do this, your best option will be to do preset, like we mentioned before. Go in the library, save a channel preset under their name. It's been a long time since I've done this. Can you go on a channel, select a channel, go home? Is it in tool setting? I know there's a way to save them. Hold on. It's been a long time since I've did this. This. No, maybe it's in library. Maybe it's in library. If you select a channel, let's say channel 1 or channel 3, 9, I'm pretty sure if you select and you click save on this one, it will save that channel. So you should be able to do this. Make sure that you save everything, the source, make sure that you save, make sure that everything here is basically you want to press all, because if you press none, you will have nothing save into that channel. If you press all and you make sure that your connection is going to be there, meaning your game preamp and everything, make sure to save all of that. Click save, create a channel preset per singer or per instrument that you want to use, and you should be good to go if you recall them every week. My other suggestion would be to just, if you have enough channel and you don't need them all, just put them on the console and unmute the one that you need when you need it. That's probably going to work better if you have enough input and output. If you don't and you just want to have one of them at a time, just do a sound check for everybody and just recall them as they go. What else? Let me take a look at that chat again. Maybe Behringer will give us a Christmas present, as they did with the console. Oh, maybe. Maybe, who knows? Maybe they will announce something. I don't know. I like to play around sometime with what I know and I don't, but this time I have no idea what's going on with any announcement at all. So maybe I'm expecting in the near future, and hear me out when I say in the near future, in the next few years or next year, a somewhat smaller version of the console. Eventually. Like, a lot of people like to post on Facebook about the wing rack and the smaller wing, the little wing. I would love to have a smaller version of the console with just basically 12 fader, something that would fit, in a 19-inch rack. 12 fader with the base, just a screen, and half of the custom control, just the bottom of the custom control, and that's it. I could do with that. That will work for me. That would mix pretty much everything through DCA, but it would make sense to me. What else? You'll be fine just saving the yes, like we've said. Okay, Patrick likes to remind me again. I read it twice, so I make sure to remind myself of not dropping my coffee on the console. Jason, you're talking to Patrick. So I have the ability to scan for all channels sending to bus and change the level for singer. Singer Amy is back, and then recall her mix. No, it doesn't work that way, Jason. Many people mistake when saving a bus. Saving a bus is only gonna save the bus channel or the bus master. It do not save the send to that bus, because that information is holded in the channel. Whoa. Are we still live? Wrong button. This one. The information of the send is stored in the channel, not on the bus main. I asked if it was possible to maybe have some kind of way to recall a bus. Let's say that when you're doing in-ear monitor, this is something that you do all the time, changing musician, and I would like to be able to save a monitor mix for a musician, having somebody a substitute for a day. After that, just keep moving on with my show, just recall the set level for that bus from the other night, or the night before, 2 nights ago, 3 nights ago, and also do the same thing if that person come to replace again the usual player. But eventually, I'm hoping this is a feature that will come, but I have no news about it for now. But I think I made my point. Working a lot as a monitor engineer right now, I think I made my point of it will make sense. And usually, people at Music Tribe, when you come up with something, if it makes sense, if the devs understand what you're trying to do, the reason behind it is judged to be valid, usually they add it. Not all the time, but usually they had it. Maybe in the future, it's probably low on the priority list, but, versus the stuff that people really want, like an offline editor, like the show control, like extra feature, more plugin. It's probably coming, but hold on. Eventually, it will be there. The X32, I'd like to go back to the X32. The first version of the X32 was amazing. Then the second version came, and wow, we have more plugin. It was amazing too. And now we are at version 4. New color, new everything. It's just it's keep on moving. And it's still is it 10 year, the X32? that came out like 10 years ago. Probably. And there's stuff still coming up, so don't give up, guys. It's eventually all the requests that you guys have will be available on the console. Just give it some time. Just give time to the devs to work first the bugs, because I would like to have a console with less feature but no bugs than a lot of feature but a console that crash. Give them some time. Okay. Oh, I should use the fancy cup holder from your computer, my DVD reader. I thought it was an ashtray. Back in the day when I was smoking, I thought it was an ashtray, right? That was popping out. Only the old guy will get that one. The kids that don't remember having a big tower next to you with a CD player popping out, you don't get this one. What else? Jason, my ID was from the bus level. Save and recall all other channel that feed the bus. Yeah, but the interesting thing will be to have like a mix save or mix recall feature that you can, change a mix. Or sometimes, for musician, sometimes it happened to me where the musicians start the show and start to change things here, there, and they just destroy their mix after, they start to panic and they don't hear things and they just destroy their mix. And sometimes when that happened, now I just don't save the show and start from the same saving point as before the show. But for other people, they end up doing change and it was the best mix they ever had, so they don't want you to not recall that. So if it was possible to have a show saved and say, okay, I want to grab that amount of send on fader from that show only, I want to recall that mix, and that mix is being recalled, it would work. I would love to have that, and it would be an advanced feature that I would love to have on the wing. Maybe it's too advanced. Maybe it's not. We'll see what happens with that. What else? Daniel, hello everyone. Great to be here. I'm interested in snapshot file or scene templates. Thanks in advance. Hi Daniel. Glad to have you back, but I know what you're looking for, and having presets is not really going to help you. I know. I'm sorry. I feel really bad to say that to people, but yes, presets do not work on live console. If you are doing live stuff with your console, recalling somebody else kick EQ or vocal EQ, it's not going to help you. I know it's better than nothing. Well, actually, it's not even true. Sometimes it's worse than nothing. But you need to work out what you want to achieve, Daniel. I'm sorry. I do not recommend preset. I've never recommended preset for anything. It just simply doesn't apply to what you have going. Sorry to tell you the truth. Can you save Mixbox per channel? Asked Pancho. No, you can't. It's a channel that you can save. Well, actually, you could save every channel send, but it will change the send for everybody, not only one channel, one send level. Well, everybody seems to be really excited with WX Fade from Patrick, so I'll let you guys talk. No, I will answer Jonathan's question here. Does the wing have a broadcast option to send the channel to a DP48? At the moment, I'm using ASC output to configure my channel and then use those manually on the... well, what you could do, Jonathan, is to just send in your output. Because if you are using a AS50C, oh, sorry, I want to go in output, AS50C. If you are using this page to send whatever from there, let's say that you have your, AS50A stage box that's sent out to AS50C, that is your DP48. You can, from there, decide to probably send a bus, or is it the other way around? Output group, no, it's the other way around. From AS50C, you can send your AS50A, or you can probably send a matrix or a main bus if you want to have your, let's say, your mix and just blend the stuff that you feel like you're missing. Maybe in 47, 48, you can just patch your main bus in there, and people from their DP48 can create a stereo input out of this and use this as their main mix. Just be aware of latency. You can create some really weird phasing issue because of the time processing of your main bus if you're doing this, but it could just work if you don't want to patch that stuff. I hope I'm clear and I hope I make sense with this. Or dedicated channel aux for the people who don't use all your channels. I'm not really sure what you're talking about here, Chris, but Joshua, you got a question. Church setting with different people going on stage and talking right away. Sometimes I'm not fast enough with unmuting the specific mic. Would you suggest gate or auto mix? If you really want to go that route, I would do expander on every single channel. Expander being the gate expander with a ratio that is under 4:1, because the gate will switch from being a gate to 4:1 ratio. I'm using that on my talkback mic. I'm using an expander. Hey. It just mute on the background noise. If I were to put my threshold a little higher, that would work. Or you could use a source extractor, which is roughly the same thing. You can see the amount of gain reduction on the left here when I don't talk. That mic is not really mute, but it has attenuation of 20 dB right now with the source extractor, and I set the threshold so when I talk, the gate or the attenuation is fully open and the plugin becomes inactive. Could do the same thing with the expander. You're gonna have more control over the attack, the hold, and the release of that. So if you really want to have it long, it's going to breathe a little more. Fast attack, more, well, don't go 0. 0 sometimes can cause glitch in the sound, but let's say 4 millisecond of attack, 150 millisecond of hold, 500 millisecond, half a second of downtime. If they talk, they grab the mic, they stop talking, it's just shut down. If they're not speaking at all, it's down. Make sure to have that over your ambient noise floor. So if you're having a band, make sure that your snare hit do not make the mic open. So you change your threshold. So it's just over the ambient noise floor, and you should be good. You can leave all those mic open. They won't do anything because they will be. It's basically like if you were to ride the fader for these microphones. They will just be down, and when they speak, it will just go up fully open, and it will attenuate as soon as they stop talking back down. This is what an expander do. So I hope this is going to be a useful suggestion for you, Joshua. Rolf, Jonathan, you may need to send user signal to the DP48 and okay, yeah, sorry, Jonathan. Maybe user signal or bus or whatever. Actually, you can send whatever you want into your DP48. You can send your anything. It also depends if you want to have control whether they should be heard when they're supposed to be quiet. Yeah, sometimes. Mute Crew could help, of course. Yes, really good suggestion here from Patrick. But if you want that to be automated, if you want that to just work whenever you need, Expander will be a good way to go. If you really want to have, like, don't even think about it, just unmute everything. When they don't speak, they are shut. That should work. My coffee's almost done. In a few minutes, I won't be able to spill it on the console. Okay, what else, guys? Because if you guys don't ask me a question, I will have to tell you to like this video, to subscribe to the channel if you want to have more stuff about the wing and live sound. The vlog will be back in a few weeks. Of course, I'll let you guys know about my trip to LA that is coming next week. I will film the whole thing. I will vlog the whole thing. Maybe it will be in a few parts for that vlog because it's probably going to be a long time. I'll be there for 5 days. Just the traveling alone is going to take me a full day. And I will bring you guys along. We don't know what's going to happen there. I'm going to meet a lovely gentleman in a studio, and we're going to set up his wing. So I will do my best to try to film as much as possible and have as much information out of this vlog as I can, but we'll see. If nobody asks a question, can you talk about the Autorider compressor? We can check it out together. I'm not a huge fan of the Autorider compressor, but I think I understand the full process behind it. So we'll take a look at it. I'm going to remove my... can I do this? Okay, I'm going to remove my compressor, so maybe the stream will go a little quieter for a while. And we're going to use the Autorider, sorry. Okay. I will give myself a little more volume here. Okay. About the Autorider. Couple things that we need to check out. The threshold. I'm going to use this knob here, so it will be easier for you guys to see. The threshold is basically like on a compressor. How far down do you want it to grab? If I'm doing... sorry, I'm hitting a bunch of knobs. The threshold is basically where do you want the compression to start happening. Target is basically a automated output of the compressor. If I want to go full on 0 dB, let's say I want to go really, really loud with my mix, I set my target to be where I want it to be. Usually when I'm doing vocal, I try to be minus 18, minus 12, depending on how loud I need the vocal to be over my mix. And the range is how much up or down that fader is going to move to try to meet the target that I desire. If I have compression happening, it will be determined here by the ratio. It's basically like 2, 4, 8, 20 to 1, 100%, basically infinite ratio. It's a limiter. And the speed is how fast my fader here is going to move. Hey. I'm going to try to set up that threshold so we can see it moving. Hey. As soon as I go over the threshold, my targets start to kick in Maybe, hey, 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 hey. Okay, I want to keep speed to 100%. I want to keep my range to be really wild for that example here. But as soon as I go over my threshold, it will start to come down. Can you hear some kind of compression when I'm talking right now? If I go over, if I move my threshold, it's not reaching at all, so the fader doesn't move, so it doesn't compress, then it's not adding also, it doesn't also add any more volume to it. So if I set my threshold to be really, really low, I'm compressing. I hear some kind of compression in my ear. I hear some kind of compression in the mix. And my target volume, which is -12, is going to set the output for that microphone. Hey, 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 hey. As soon as I go over my threshold, I start to compress at 2:1, as you can see right there. And it's just... as soon as I open the threshold, it's trying to send me up to the target. If I put my threshold any a little higher, it's compressing less. Can you guys hear less compression? And it's trying to keep that under target. Hey, 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 hey. Am I clear? Sorry, I feel like I'm not clear here. Does it make sense? Let me know. Let me know, Joshua. Patrick, looking forward to the vlog, learning so much from live event. That's not gonna be a live event. Sorry, I need to. This thing is driving me crazy. Hey, 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 hey. This thing is driving me crazy not having the volume that I'm used to. So. Not too much compression. Hey, 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 hey. And we're going to set the output to have a decent level going to my main out. I just want to make sure that, yeah, it's a little loud. I'm going to bring my output right there. A little more. Starts to feel right. Because right now I'm not doing any band. I'm just doing like a broadcast mic. It's one microphone going out to the computer. I just want to compress my peak when I'm talking. Hey, 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 hey. And if I go loud, I want my compressor to hold me back, but I just want my normal voice to almost not hit the compressor. And then I just send it really loud to my main out compressor, my main mix compressor, and that is sent also into a limiter. So first step of compression, second step of compression here, and just one limiter that will bring it up to the max broadcast standard, all the way there. All the way to you guys at home, so you can hear my live stream with relatively decent loudness. And I had a lot of people commenting on how I get really good loud stream versus probably every streamer that I've looked. They just don't they don't understand that you need a compression and a limiter on your stream like you would here on a CD that is mastered, or if you recreate those things, you can be as loud as any other music out there. And I'm probably honestly too loud with my compression that I have right now. I'm probably over the -12 LUFS, because the -12 LUFS, from what I understand of streaming, is the standard for perceived loudness at home. I'm probably a little loud. So, anyhow, the vlog thing, Patrick, is going to be in a studio this time. I'm not going to do... I wish I could go do a live show in LA, but nope. Eventually, I will start to bring you guys more out on shows. I'm debating... No, it's not a live event. I'm sorry. It's a studio setup. But yesterday, I was with some of my friends in a band, and we debated if we should start a vlog. It's probably not going to be in English at first, because I don't have that many friends that speak English. How surprising could that be for you guys? But eventually, I will have more camera on set with me. I will start to bring more stuff, and with the people that I know people that want to participate in a kind of podcast vlogging stuff, I will put more emphasis on that. I will have more conversational stuff happening behind the scene. It will probably be another channel, but I'll make sure to let you guys know if you want to hear that. And I'm probably going to start something about the state of music where I am right now in Quebec. Maybe it's not going to be interesting at all. We're going to do 2 episodes and call it a day. I don't know. I just don't know what's going to happen with that. But eventually I'm working on a project for next year of vlogging and stuff, behind the scenes stuff, conversation with musician, other engineer, other people that wants to join in. It's a project for the future. That and also all the bunch of video that I never did for the wing. Okay, guys, if you don't have any more question, we're gonna call this a stream. We've been going for 45 minutes. Hey, what's up, Misanthropic Generation? Am I talking to you or the whole generation? Just kidding. If you guys don't have any more questions, we're gonna call it a day. If you guys do have more, we're here until you guys are done. We want to fulfill your need for answers here. But seriously, no. If we're done or about to be done, we're just gonna go. Oh, Pancho. Okay, interesting question here. Personal stuff. I don't mind going over that. Do you get to keep the house? Yes. Those of you who don't know, I recently split with my ex-girlfriend. We were owner of this house, and I do get to keep the house. I worked out some stuff with the bank, and yes, I can keep the house for myself. Really appreciate the fact that I don't have to take all these panel, all these walls, all the acoustic panel. Well, if you guys seen the video tour of the studio, the tour video, I don't speak English anymore. The studio tour video, you saw my whole setup that I have here, and I get to keep all of that for myself. I get to keep the house. I thank you very much, Pancho, for that. Yes, the good news is, yes, it's going to be settled probably next week, but everything is just a matter of paperwork at this point. Everything. I got the okay from the bank. I got the okay I got all my personal stuff worked out. It's just a matter of signing the paper. But if nothing happened, if we don't wake up in a financial crash tomorrow morning, and the interest rate go to the roof to something stupid, more stupid than it is right now, knock on wood, everything should be fine. Okay, let's go back to question about sound. Thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate that, seriously. Daniel's got a question. How to set up vocal to suppress frequency range on the main for it to pop? Interesting. When we're talking about popping sound, well, there's actually a couple stuff that happen regularly on the voice. Let's take a look at that. I want to go here. I want to take a look first at the EQ. The popping sound, the P's, are usually happening in the low end. So to avoid having, I'm going to bring my mic a little closer here so you guys can hear my lovely voice. More FM-like. I'm probably going to rub down that compressor because it's going to the roof. There we go. So we're going to try. Oh, I'm really, really loud now. Okay. I'm going to try to recreate a P sound. Hey, 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 hey. I'm speaking really, really close to the mic. And if I'm doing, I'm sorry for your ears, guys, careful here. If I'm doing a P, I'm clipping the preamp. And it's mostly happening in the low end. If I take out my low cut, and I have a full range now with a lot of bottom end, and I go Careful for your ears, guys. With a P, a popping sound. And I really put emphasis on it right now with a P. All that low end information is really useless when it comes for singing or speaking. So what I do is I take the low cut frequency. Low cut can be enabled here in your filter option. It's not an EQ, it's a filter. I enable the low cut, and for vocal, depending on the microphone, if you're having like an SM58 or any handheld microphone, anywhere between 100 and even 200 sometimes, but usually my starting point is around 160. I take that out, and that will reduce the amount of P that I get, the P, the popping sound. Of course, if you're having capsule clipping, in the sense of if I speak and the P that I'm doing, when I go P with no pop filter on it, like I have right now. Right now I have a pop filter. If I take that out and I go P into that microphone, can you hear the P? I'm clipping the capsule. You cannot get rid of that because it's happening before you even low cut the microphone. You have two options. Some microphone like this one have a low cut on it, so that will help you get rid of this, but some other mic don't. Most handheld mic do not. So if you cannot add a pop filter like on a condenser like this, you want to use a microphone that has a built-in pop filter like an SM58 or like most vocal microphone that are designed to do vocal. And the only thing that you really want to avoid is to have clipping of the capsule or the preamp, because if I'm doing a P right now, I'm popping up, I'm clipping the preamp. I go in the red, in the clipping. If you don't go in clipping, like if I turn down my gain here and I go P, it's not going to pop that much. So make sure to avoid actually a couple things. By clipping, avoid that at all costs. Even with the P, you want to not pop the microphone. You want to also add a low cut to get rid of that low end energy that you don't really need in voice. Other than Barry White, most people don't need to have voice that is really under 100 for live. For studio, it's another game. Some people like to have, vocal that we're taking a little more further away and have low end to that. But I feel like no, it's not. It's not the best way to go. And basically, low cut that, and after that, you have a compressor to even out the volume a little more. So once I get rid first, I make sure that I don't clip. I don't have any clipping. I make sure that I don't have any useless low-end information that will put emphasis on those P. I had a compressor because that compressor is going to help me to get rid of the last few popping noise that can occur in the sound system. They physically happen between me and the microphone, but I'm getting rid of it at every step I can. So make sure that I don't clip the capsule. I have a pop filter. I have a low cut on the microphone to get rid of that useless popping energy. And after that, to make sure that nobody's dying, I'm adding a compressor to make sure that my P is held down by the compressor. All that together, when I go back with a little more distance here, sorry guys, this is also another way that you can get rid of your P, is when you pop out, add distance if possible in a recording studio situation. Live, you cannot have a microphone that is 3 feet away from your singing person, but in a studio, that will be an option. So I hope that answered your question, and I hope that it gives you more trick to get rid of your popping frequencies. Also, something that I want to notice. Sorry, just gonna turn that mic back towards me so that the capsule is facing me. I get more definition out of it. Speaking of, the other thing that people tend to do when they are really close to a microphone is having S's. Can you hear when I'm put too much emphasis on S's? What's happening here in the higher frequencies? One way to get rid of this is using a de-esser. A de-esser is basically a compressor with a single band that will get rid of or compress the low end information before it goes any further. So while we're at it, we're going to talk about it quickly. De-esser has nothing to do with the pop sound, but the S's can be get rid of with a de-esser that will compress that part of the signal. You can have the same thing with a multi-band comp if you want to do that for the P, but by default the Wing has a de-esser that will get rid of those frequencies. It's a fixed threshold, but you set the amount of gain reduction that you want to have on these S's. Could be 0, so if I do an S, it doesn't do anything. Range of 1 dB. Hey, the S's, not yet. 3 dB, the S's. Okay, it's start to go. And let's go 4.5, the S's. 6 dBs of compression. 7.5. It's just hammering down on those high frequencies. After that, the last thing that you can do to get rid of S's is to take the frequencies that is emphasis with an EQ and just drop that down a little bit. It's gonna muffle down your overall tone even when you don't have S's, but it's the last trick in the book if you need to get rid of S's. Otherwise, you're using a de-esser, and that's gonna help you get rid of also unwanted frequencies like these ones. And to get rid of background noise, I'm using my source extractor. I hope that answered your question. What else? What's going on? Chris, is the Dream Hamster feeding you inside info? Nope. I get them from somewhere else. Thank you, Daniel, for the question. Really appreciate that. And you can also include a dynamic EQ around 200. Yes, I prefer on SM57 to get rid of that at the EQ, permanently at the EQ. But yes, dynamic EQ. Actually, we can show you dynamic EQ. Dynamic EQ. How's this one's working? Hey. Let's take a look at that. Dynamic EQ is available in the gate section of the console. You can set hey. You can set your dynamic EQ to work. I'm just putting a lot of emphasis on it for just so we can hear it. Dynamic EQ is basically working exactly like you see right now. I set the threshold that I want the EQ to react at, and when I'm really far away from the microphone or when I put emphasis on that frequencies, it's gonna do whatever I'm doing graphically here with the EQ. So if I want to get rid of the mid-range frequency in my voice, hey, it's getting rid of all the because I'm using a above filter right now. It's gonna make sense in a few seconds, guys. So when I'm not speaking, it's gonna cut down on the mid-range frequency. When I'm talking, I reach over the threshold, so it's bringing back the EQ. If I go with the other way around, with a below settings, if I go over the threshold, it's gonna start doing this. Now, let's talk about something that we want to get rid of. Annoying frequencies in vocal like the 200. If I want that as a cut down, I want to get rid of the mid frequency when I'm speaking. So the P if I'm just gonna set my threshold to be a little higher. Hey, 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 hey. Okay. If I go extreme setting here, and if I go with a P, as soon as I go over the threshold with my volume, I'm gonna get rid of all the low end frequencies. It's easier to understand the way to do it with a DS, like a de-esser. Basically, a de-esser is the same thing, but it's on the higher frequency range. Well, we're gonna go somewhere around the 7K, 6 and 7K. Maybe that's a little wide. We're gonna bring that down a little bit. I just want to find the frequencies that really annoy me. 6, 7 is usually a good start. I'm gonna set the Q for this to be really thin. Now I'm boosting, so when I'm not speaking, it's boosting the high end. But what we want to do is get rid of the S's, but we don't want to kill it all the way. We want to keep some definition in the frequency. So this is why we have a amount of gain on the dynamic EQ. So we can set it to a maximum gain reduction of, let's say, 6 dB. We can set the Q on it to be really where we want it to be. It's going to be, most of the time, S's or P will be at the same frequency per person. So singers that I've worked for years, like my friend Simon, every time he's gonna have like an S's, I know it's gonna be around 9K. So if I'm using a de-esser with my friend Simon, I set it to roughly 9K. Roughly something thin, something really, really small of a cut. And I go anywhere between 3 to 9 dB of cut on his voice. So we can sing, we can have definition. I'm just gonna put the threshold a little higher here. We can have definition, but if he ever drop an S, it's gonna cut down. It's gonna cut down on the S's on his voice. This is how you're doing this. The same thing could be done if I'm lowering the frequency to the P. Hey, 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 with the P, the pop. Pop, pop, pop. The microphone keep on popping. You're gonna do the same thing. Basically, a dynamic EQ is a more fancy way to do de-essing or get rid of pop. But to get rid of pop, I would first suggest a low cut. After that, as your second tool in the chain, use a dynamic EQ. And of course, before that, on the mic itself, try to get a pop filter, because if you can cut something at the source and you don't have to deal with it at the console, it's going to be better for you guys. You want to get rid as much as possible of the stuff at the source before the microphone. Make your stuff sound good. Make your guitar amp sound good. Tune your drums so they sound good. Tune your bass instrument, play with the tone control on them, make sure that they sound really good at the start, and then fix what you cannot fix on the instrument itself on the console, not the other way around. Get your source as best as you can. And now I don't have any, I have a lot of background noise. There you go. What else? Jill, hey, good to see you, man. Joining late. Alternating church mix. You can create the whole mix for each week and then save. Yes. Say week A, week B, and then recall for use for sound check. Easier than starting from scratch. Yeah, but you can also, I would go the per channel approach on this one if you only have a couple singer changing each week. If your whole band is changing each week, then you have to do a sound check. Other than that, if it's the singer, singer A that's coming 1 week and he's going to be back in 2 weeks, just save him his channel preset. It should be a good way to work. And other than that, I mean, there's no perfect solution. Do a sound check every day is the perfect solution, but sometimes I understand that you guys do not always have the time and people to show up to their sound check. Daniel, okay, I'm gonna change my question. I mean, say for the vocal to stand out without clashing with other signal, that's a tough one. This is an advanced thing that I'm gonna tell you. Don't if you don't understand what I'm telling you by this, try to avoid the method I'm gonna show you. I'm just gonna show you an advanced trick that I'm doing with a dynamic EQ. The two things that are usually fighting together in a sound system are vocal and guitars. For some reason, piano don't tend to do that as much as guitar, because electric guitar and acoustic guitar have a lot of mid-range in their sound, and usually they fight with the vocal. What I do on my acoustic guitar, I'm gonna grab something here that is guitar. What I usually do on my guitar, I put a dynamic EQ on them around 1K. I go below and I go 6 dB, 3 to 6 depending on the instrument and on the result. I change my EQ to be something wider, something like this. What's gonna happen here? If that dynamic EQ is kicking in, it's gonna turn down the mid-range for that instrument, because here, keep in mind that this is on a guitar or my guitars. If I want my vocal to go through, but I don't want to keep moving the guitar all the time, what I can do is EQ out some of the mid-range where usually the vocal is going to sit, roughly around 1K, 2K, depending on the language that you're speaking, depending on the person that is singing. If you can get rid of the mid-range when the person is singing, but when you want the emphasis back on the guitar, when the person's or nobody is singing, you want your guitar to be full on, because they are usually what's going to be heard in the song. At most when you're not singing. So what you could do is take a dynamic EQ, do a mid scoop on it, and set the key for that EQ to work with your lead vocal. Right now, what I have set up is I have my key source for that dynamic EQ set for my vocal. Basically, my channel 40 is my talkback mic. This is the one that I'm using to talk to you guys. I'm using channel 40 to trigger the action of volume reduction here on my guitar, because I'm on my guitar channel. Every time that I speak, the mid-range of that instrument is affected by this EQ, and it will be cut down to let my vocal go through. This is something that I do on live show, because in a PA it's really hard to get your vocal and guitar to be loud at the same time. It seems like they always fighting each other. So what I do is I take that dynamic EQ, put that on guitar, make sure that my lead vocal or my vocal group is triggering that action, triggering the threshold, and I just cut down on my mid-range on the guitar only when the singers or when somebody is singing. When they don't, for a guitar solo, for a part with no lyrics, I'm getting the full range of the guitar. You don't want to do this too much. You don't want, 15 dB of gain reduction, because the guitar will just disappear. But 3 to 6 dB of gain reduction, I'm gonna lower my threshold so it's really clamping down on that. 3 to 6 dB of gain reduction will just give you enough headroom and space in the PA so that the vocal will go through, and as soon as the vocal stop, the guitar will come back full range, flat response, full whatever, and as soon as the singer kick in again, it's gonna duck down the guitar for you. It's like some kind of auto mix, but it's auto EQ. Be careful. If you're doing too much of this, it's not gonna work. You wanna go as subtle as you can, but you get your vocal through it. I hope that helped. Rolf said, I found an interesting technique called mid-side compression in YouTube that may help you. Just search for that. Mid-side compression will kind of do the same thing. Autorider is a good solution on corporate show when incoming videos come at different level. Oh yeah, yes. Actually, Chris, this is really true. The autorider is something that I would use for that, or just a compressor to get rid of this. Joshua, thanks for the advanced tips. You're welcome. Great use of the dynamic tool, voices and guitar. Yes, they usually fight together. Daniel, you could try put a bus comp on what you want to be affected, what trigger off your main vocals, so that could duck other source when the singer is singing. This is exactly what we're doing right now, Chris, but we're doing it with dynamic EQ. That could also work on a bus. If you have the available bus, I would say take your guitar or your stuff that has mid-range into it, piano, other instrument, ukulele, whatever that you have, put that in a bus, put a dynamic EQ or a ducker on that bus, and make sure that your lead vocal is triggering that ducker or that dynamic EQ, and it will basically auto-mix itself. As soon as the vocal will kick in, the other stuff will drop, stuff will come back, stuff will drop, and it's basically like mixing, but really fast and a lot of fader at the same time. Some people like to do this on bass guitar and bass drum. They take the frequency of the bass drum. Let's say that the low end of your kick is at, 50 hertz. I don't want that. I want this. I changed the low band for a parametric. I want to do this, and I want a smaller Q. Let's say that your bass drum is kicking at around 45 hertz. Some people like to take dynamic EQ and get rid of that in the bass guitar to let the bass guitar go through at that frequency and just use a dynamic EQ to make some space. I personally don't. Usually on bass guitar, I actually end up using a low cut that is higher than the frequency of my bass drum, and that's been working fine for me for the last few years. So I'm just gonna keep on with that. But basically, there's another way to do this, and if you sidechain all your stuff together really well, you can get a mix that's going to sound more in your face when some stuff are present and less when some other stuff aren't present. It will be closer to a studio mix to some extent, but it's going to help you a lot to achieve a lot of things at the same time. Basically, not really automation, but stuff that are triggering by itself are one way to work many feel at the same time. I hope that helped. Guys, on this note, we've been going for a little over an hour now. Questions start to slow down in the interest of keeping this stream interesting. We're gonna call it a day for now, and I will see you guys next week. We're gonna be here next week. Actually, I have time to do a short stream next week before I leave for my flight in LA. So I will see you guys next week. Please, until the next one, like this video if you are with us live right now. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you guys can see when we have a live. Make sure to ring the notification bell so you guys see when something happening with the channel. Always a pleasure to have you guys around. You guys are helpful. You have really interesting questions, and I love to go over that stuff week after week after week. Quick one. Hey man, can you show me the EQ graphic on how to EQ a cello? That's a tricky question because I would need to hear your cello. Otherwise, I don't know how it sounds. I'm sorry, but it's the way it is. There's no magic EQ trick other than low cut your cello. This is all I would say. Start with something like this. If you have any feedback, get rid of the frequency that is feeding back using your RTA or your ears to figure it out, and that's pretty much it. I'm sorry, Eldim. Depend on the cello and microphone, and yeah, there we go. Of course, low cut everything for a cello. I don't know what the exact range of a cello is, but it doesn't go that low in the low end, so get rid of some stuff probably around, start with 100 and see if it's too much or not enough, and move your, the other way around for you guys, move your low cut so it just fit the instrument well. No magic to be done here. On that note, guys, until the next one, I want you to please take care of yourself, and I will see you all next week or later. Take care.